Hi guys, and welcome back again to another episode of Words with Al. And so time has come to finally present the actual work, the research that I've done, that I've been working on since last year, and um, so that I can finally demonstrate to you what has happened to our languages and what has happened to us, mankind. So I have to just give you a little bit of background. I have a degree in psychology and a master's in clinical neuroscience from University of Roehampton in London. Yes, and although that is a very different field than this, my own passion led me to this discovery, and my own the fact that I speak. So many languages and have been exposed to very many more. Yes. But I will publish all my research. I have already published it on ResearchGate, but I will put the links in the description below so that all of you guys can see what I have been talking about till now and how we now can demonstrate it so that this is not a theory anymore. This is simply the fact. Okay, so we will begin with the first one. This is now perhaps the oldest word. I say word, but it's not really a word, it's just sound. It's just sound. sound, which is exactly what we are going to look for, sound. So the root is the S or the Z. The Z or S sound. Yeah, even the sound, yeah, and noise, yeah, okay. So human languages, despite deep genealogical divergence, consistently employ sibilants and related phonemes. So i.e. the S, the Z, and all these other different types of forms that you can say the sound in, right? In words denoting sound and noise. A cross-family survey of over 14 language families, including Indo-European, Afroasiatic, Dravidian, Sino-Tibetan, Niger-Congo, Austronesian, Uralic, Japonic, Koreanic, and multiple Amerind families demonstrates a non-random recurrence of these phonemes, particularly in ideophonic and expressive lexemes. We hypothesize that this pattern reflects a pre-divergence proto-phonetic lexicon, in which certain phonemes were perceptually anchored to acoustic phenomena prior to the divergence of modern language families. This proto-phonetic continuity suggests that early humans shared a basic system of sound-symbolic associations, stabilized by perception and cultural transmission. Confirmation of this hypothesis would provide insight into the deep roots of human speech, the role of perception in language evolution, and the universality of sound symbolism. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to demonstrate it. You can read it. Okay, I have read it. I have done my work on it. I have gone into all the linguistic knowledge that now exists. And I can now say that half of it is incomplete. It is erroneous because we thought that we split and then began developing a language. But that's not how it was. We all inherited a language or a set of sounds that would later be further developed in those specific groups that developed them. Very simple, right? It's unbelievable how simple it is. But then you can read it, okay? But I am only going to show you the tables, okay? Just the tables, because that's all we need. We just need the dictionaries, really, just to compare and contrast and see whether it is true or not. Do we find this S, sa, za, za, sound in words for sound or noise? Or, yeah, it will later become speech in some, because obviously speech is sound. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. There's the hypothesis, this is the material, this is the organization, and so on and so forth. Here we got the results. So in the Indo-European group, we find sonos, zvuk, sabda. In the Afroasiatic, we find sat, ras, and asa. In the Amerind, we find sonki, zaza, simi, sasa. And then in the other families, we also find something. Even hissing, buzzing, rustling, all have this sound. Okay? Now we will go, this is naturally a very difficult thing for us to understand today, because this seems as if we are the only one who has a relationship to sound. But that is not the fact, right? That is not the truth. The truth is that we are mankind, that we are one, and that we split, became very many different people. And obviously we started looking different. We ate different things. Our culture developed differently, so that we naturally would become very distinct. But that is not how it used to be. And so this is a very deep time exploration of language itself, so that it's not that easily to grasp it immediately. Not by just listening to me either way. But obviously now we will have it demonstrated. And this is, remember, not the only sound. Okay. So let's begin with the Indo-European. Swan, sabda, sora, strausa, seda, sonus, strepitus, zvuk, shum, sign, salt, ra, as, salt, ziz, asa, or asha, shoot, zh, zas, zas, zes, again, zes, or ses, sauti, sturutu, savaksan, sagale, sa, ses, shu, sabda. This one I can't read because it doesn't. I don't know but it is in there. It is in there. There is an S here. We know now. Sabdam, Sren, Shengin, Shengin, Sawa, Sauti, Sindu, Sin, Sa, Swara, Sisik, Sene, Zai, Sawa Sawa, Zaza, Sori, So Sonki, Sonni, Jawan, Sunkan, Zaza, Simi, Sa Sa, Shiri Shiri. So there we go. That was one. So now you can see that the shi, sha, ja, su, ja, so, all of these came from one root. This is not a random pattern. Okay? Not a random pattern. Otherwise, it would not have this spread, and it would not have this same sound. I know that we are different now, and we like to think that we are not connected to anyone, but that is not really how it works. We are nature. We came from one family a long time back, and well, there was bottlenecks, obviously, because there were disasters that happened on Earth that unfortunately killed very many of us, so that the only ones remaining were pretty much the only ones remaining, and those spoke one language, and those people spoke one language, meaning our ancestors spoke one language, and their language is found spread across Earth. So yes, I will give you the opportunity to look at it for yourself, naturally, right? You go and look at it, and you go do your work on it, please. Do not take my word for it, right? I'm not here to convince you of anything except to naturally reveal to you what has been lost to us for thousands of years. So now let's go on. Before we go to that one, we will go on to the U root. So now we will look at the root for water. Okay, I will begin the hypothesis here. The U-root hypothesis for water across family phonetic persistence in the world's oldest lexeme. Okay, so this study investigates the cross-linguistic recurrence of the word water through an acoustic, articulatory framework, proposing the U-root hypothesis, that an early proto-lexical form for water contained a shared U quality, a back-resonant and often labelized vowel nucleus. Unlike analysis based solely on phonemic identity or orthography, this approach emphasizes acoustic realization, accommodating phonetic masking and divergence while tracing the time continuity. Yes, 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 yes. Bah! So, data from Indo-European, Uralic, Afroasiatic, Turkic, Sino-Tibetan, Dravidian, Austronesian, Andean, and Niger-Congo families and isolates such as Basque show consistent presence of U quality. Okay? The reason why this falls now onto a U quality is because the quality encapsulates pretty much all the different types of U's that exist, or the A's that are so nasal that they kind of like are very close to being U's. Right? So, ooh. Okay? So with time, naturally, this would become, would change and would drift to become an A in some languages, but not in all. That is what we will see. Variations including the M prefixation in Afroasiatic and the S prefixation in Turkic and Sino-Tibetan, and vowel fronting or centralization in other families are interpreted as regular phonetic drift layered onto a retained phonetic core. The findings suggest that the U root was likely the earliest word for water in human language, which subsequently diversified as speech communities developed independently. This study highlights the role of shared human physiology and semantic stability in shaping deep time linguistic patterns, and offers a methodological framework for investigating ultra-stable vocabulary through acoustic persistence, rather than orthographic or phonemic form alone. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, guys. So let me just explain. So we developed different forms of writing, but that does not mean that the sound was different, right? We saw the Greeks develop their letters. The Sanskrit developed their letters. The Chinese ones developed their characters. The ancient Egypt one had their own hieroglyphs. The Sumerian had their cuneiforms, but they were all sound because we are still man and woman. We still have a mouth and we still have to make sound, so that independent of how we're writing down the sound, it doesn't really matter if the sound is the same. But naturally, because of the drift and the time and then the development, it all now seemed alien, right? But it isn't. It never was. It's just we who were slow. You're very slow, but then we didn't know, so it's not really a matter of surprise. This was inevitable. Okay. So I will let you read the rest of this, obviously, because I can't read every research paper to you now, because that will take ages, okay? And you will get tired because it's so much information that obviously it will just tire the living life of you. But now we will see what is happening. So we are following oo. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay? This whole specter that I just made, we're following this sound. This ooh up to the nasal A almost, okay? because that is how it drifted, but not everywhere, and not in the same way, which is what we will discover. Okay, so we will begin with the oldest one that we know. Okay, let's take this chronologically. Akkadian one, mu, mu. So it is here. Okay. Old Egyptian, mu. It is here. Now we see a drift. We're starting to see a drift. This is now becoming an m, an a. But phonetically, it is still it's still back there. Okay. So it is still within the U quality. But here we can see that there is a phonemic reclassification. Okay. Because it, in fact, if you search for this word and ask the Arabs to tell you what water, what their word for water is, it is in fact a U. But we, for some reason, have classified this as an like an A, but it's not an A, not near, nowhere near an A or an which is the European word for A. Right, European sound for A, not word. Okay, let's just keep things clear. And then we have Udaka, Albanian Uy, Basque Ur, Scottish Uische or Wiske, 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 water, water, Wassa, Wassa. Ooh. Okay, I'm just going to stop, but that is pretty much, I'm just explaining to you that the W is really a U. It's a U. It's just that we write it with a W now. That is what we have decided that this sound means. Okay. And then we go to the Turkish, Su, the Mandarin, Shui. So we see that these two are now related, the Turkic group and the Sino-Tibetan are now related. They have the same word for water, which means that they, are closer linguistically, not genetically. We're not talking about genetics, guys. Do not try to confuse this with genetics. This is not genetics. We have drifted and developed over a very, very, very long time. So we're not the same genetically anymore. But we're still the same man and woman, right? We're still the same man and woman. So the Dravidian one is the nir. Okay? It is there, but it is weak. It is weak. Because they split quite early on, remember? They split very early on. But we will also find it later again. It kind of came back, or maybe it always was there, but it was reduced with time. We don't know. Maybe some Tamil people can, Tamil people, my Tamil brothers and sisters, maybe you can explain to me what happened better than I can. But it is still in there because they say nir, 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 nir. It drifted. That's pretty much it. And then you have Yoruba, which means Omi. Omi. Or this U became an O there. Still there. Partial retention. Only partial. So not fully. And then Quechua in the Andean. So the our American American natives, brothers and sisters, have it too. Yes, it's there. Now they have developed something else in front of it, but it is still there. Okay. So what we see is that the mu becomes a ma, the su becomes a shu, the water, wasa, wasa. But now we can see that the Proto-Indo-European one, the reconstructed form, is in fact redundant. We don't need it. We made it because we thought that that we had a language, that the Indo-European group had a fully formed language, which it doesn't, and it didn't. I mean, it didn't. But now we are, our linguistic brothers and sisters think that that is what has happened, but it's not. I'm sorry to break it down to you. This will be, yeah, my whole breakdown here will be perceived as an attack probably on all their work, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm just here for the facts. Okay. So these pathways are regular phonetic processes, not lexical replacements. Yes, yes. Does the word for water retain new quality in the earliest attested or reconstructed forms across unrelated families? Yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And now we will go into this. So we've seen this. I'm not going to read more because obviously there's a lot. You have to read it yourself. If you're interested in our oldest language and where we came from and how we began and developed, then please do have a look. Okay. So we will continue on then. Yeah. And then I'm going to show you the last table where we will see it all. Yeah, water, udaka, uy. So we have the Proto-Indo-European, the Sanskrit, the Albanian, the English, water, 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 wata, wasa, whiskey, vesi. This is when the W became a V. Wesi, before it became vesi. And then here, same. This is the same word, viz, vivi, meaning that this V used to be a W. W, whiz. And then mu. So here it says though must. Yeah, so it's must. And then the Akkadian, mu. And Old Egyptian, mu. Arabic, same. Here we have it, lowered vowel, nasal context. This is uman, aman now, but it didn't used to be aman. It used to be like mu. This is actually the same as this. Now they just have some, put a new word or a new letter in front and a letter behind. But in fact, this is the root, as you can see. Yeah, because these are the oldest. Remember that the Berber came much later. And then we have the Somali people, BU. It is still here. BU. They might say BO, but it is still here. It has now just taken, obviously drifted as well. Same with the Omi, as we talked earlier. Maji, same. This is still Ma. Mama from Mumu, up here. Yeah. And then we have the Proto-Dravidian, that is Nir, that I told you about. Nir. But here it is, in today's, it is Niru. So it is suddenly here. So I don't know if this came back, or maybe the Proto-Dravidian forms, the reconstructed forms are incorrect. That maybe it was actually, the U was always there, because that is pretty much what it was. We will see that. And then we have the Su, the Proto-Turkic, which is pretty much the same. And the Old Chinese, Lu. Well, this is now reconstructed. We don't know if this is Lu, if this in fact was there, but U is still there. So U has not changed, but the new one, Shui. Shui. But it is there. It's there in the middle. And then we have the Proto-Austronesian, Wahir. Wa. It's here. Here it becomes mast, because it's actually here. This ayr, is pretty much this one, right? Ayr, wa. So we can see that this W here is gone over here. So it's not really moth, but yes, it's a loss of initial glide. Yes. So now they kind of dropped the first syllable here and just kept the loss. That is why it does not contain the root anymore. Now we see that the Basque does have it, just like the Albanian. So the Albanian and the Basque have it kind of very clean. They haven't added a lot to it. They added an R, whilst the Albanian added a J. Uy. While they kept ur for water. And then we have the Quechua, Yaku, who is still there. It maintained it. They maintained it. And then Aymara, Umma, still like this is like Egyptian, guys. Like this is Egyptian. This is unbelievable. Maybe it came back again, right? We don't know that. We don't know how far those people in the old days traveled and how much of the roots they kept. And because everybody did not develop, some really kept the roots for a long time. And some developed and changed or were conquered or circumstances led to different types of experiences. And then we have atl, atl, which is moss, because this is again like the Arab one, watl, watl, atl, watl. You can have a u there, although it is moss. So that was it. That was it for now. I think I'm going to keep it short. Two presentations out of two presentations in one video because it's going to become quite a lot. It will be quite a lot of information that you have to digest. So hopefully it won't take you too long. But it is my greatest honor, my greatest pleasure to share this with you. Truly, it has been that the entire time. And yeah, so that was it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following me. Thank you for following this development. This is wow, the journey of a lifetime. So, so thank you. Have a good day or evening, wherever you are.